In this video today, I'm going to show you how I made a custom diamond painting using this particular image. Next, I need to decide what size I want my finished diamond painting to be. In this particular case, I want it to be 5 inches in width and 7 inches in height. So I'm just using an Excel spreadsheet to calculate what that aspect ratio is. So to calculate the aspect ratio, I'm just going to take the height and I'm going to divide it by the width, and that gives me a 1 to 1.4 aspect ratio. Next, I'm going to open up my web browser and I'm going to go to crapola.com. And then I'm going to just click and drag my image into here. And then I'm going to wait until it loads. And as soon as it finishes loading, I'm going to click on Manual down here. And then I'm going to put the aspect ratio that I just calculated, which is 1 to 1.4. And so now I can click and drag this to resize it and then center it. And so what this is going to do is it's going to crop down my image to an aspect ratio of 5:7. And so as soon as I'm satisfied with how this is going to crop, I'm going to download this crop. And I'm just going to save it into the same directory that my original image is in. And so now we have our cropped image. Next, we need to generate a cross-stitch pattern from that cropped image. So I've come to pick2pat.com website. I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to select the cropped image that we made from the Crapola website, and I'm going to open it. And then I'm going to click Next. And wait for it to load the picture. All right. So now here it's loaded our cropped image for us. The floss brand, you want to keep it DMC. Stitches per inch, you want it to be 10 stitches per inch. The size, we want it to be 5:7. In this case, it's calculating 5.1 to 7.2. You want to make sure that the color palette is set for diamond painting. And for PDF colors, all colors, and click Next. Now here are the different mock-ups that it has come up with. You hover over it and it's going to tell you how many colors. This first one is 134 colors. This one is 120. And so you can scroll down to see what lesser numbers of colors are going to show. Like for instance, I frequently like to choose around 30 colors, which would be this one right here. But in this case, I want to keep the yellow in the cat's eyes. And so I'm going to scroll up to the top, and I'm actually going to use this one right here, which is 120 colors. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the download. And I'm going to just download this to the same directory that my images are. And so now we have generated our cross-stitching PDF file. The files that we've been working with are original image, the cropped image, and here's our PDF file. This is the cross-stitching pattern. So if we go ahead and open this up, the first page is our mock-up. The next page is the actual pattern that you would use. And then the next one is the different color palette that we're going to use. Now, to check our math, to make sure that we've got everything set right, I'm going to look at the number of stitches here. So we've got 51 stitches across and 71 stitches down. So if I move this out of the way and we come back to our Excel spreadsheet, so the width was 51 inches, the height is 71 inches. To calculate how many centimeters that is, you take these values and you divide it by 4. And that will give you the centimeters that your finished diamond painting is going to be. Now there's 0.393701 inches per centimeter. So to calculate the number of inches, you take the centimeters and you're going to multiply it by 0.393701. And so that's going to give us a finished product that's 5.02 by 6.99 inches in size. Now, once you have your PDF file, you can certainly just print this out and then work from the pattern on the printed out copy and just place your diamonds according to the legend that's on the back that gives you the DMC numbers of your different drills according to the symbols. But a much easier way to do this is if you have an Android phone, you can use an app that's called Pattern Keeper. So on your Android phone, open up your App Store and search for Pattern Keeper. And I've already purchased it, but if you haven't purchased it, it's not very expensive. I recommend purchasing this, and it will make your cross-stitching or diamond painting much, much easier. So here I am now on my Android phone, and I have opened up my Pattern Keeper app. And I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to add a pattern. It's a PDF file, and I want to look for the PDF file that I transferred to my Android phone via Bluetooth, and it's the one right here on the top. So I'm going to select it. Going to click on Verify Chart. Then I'm just going to click the arrow in the bottom right hand corner. And so now here is my chart. And so you can scroll up or down. And now we're ready to actually start placing the diamonds on our blank canvas. The drills I'm going to use for this particular project I got from Amazon. It's Art Dot, and they are all 445 DMC colors. Make sure you get the square drills. Now it says that there's 1,000 pieces per bag, but I found some of them were as low as 500. So you want to plan accordingly. And your PDF file is going to tell you how many stitches each color has, and so a stitch is an equivalent to one drill. So this will give you an idea of how many drills you're going to need. And so if any of the particular colors are over 500, you might want to consider buying 2 sets of these drills to make sure that you're going to have enough. Now there are some bags where there are going to be 1,000, but I just found that the sets that I was using for my last diamond painting, there wasn't anywhere near 1,000 on the majority of the colors. And so you'll want to plan accordingly. Now I also got the blank canvases from Amazon. And again, you want to make sure that you get the square blank canvases. Now the ones that I've got, the 10s are not marked off as well as it is shown in the image here, which is one of the reasons I marked it off on the masking tape on the actual canvas that I'm going to be working on. But this is where you can buy your blank canvases. And here I have prepared my canvas. It's a blank canvas for square diamonds. And I've put masking tape along the outside edge so that I can label every 10 squares. And so as you can see, it's 51 by 71. And so I've got it marked off and using masking tape. Now this particular blank canvas that I'm using, it only went out to 50 squares and I need 51. So what I did is I just have some regular Scotch tape that I've put on the back with the sticky side facing up so that I've left just enough here so that I can get that 51st row when I'm sticking my drills on here. And instead of kitting up, I have just put all the drills that I bought. I bought a couple of these 9-drawer storage containers. And so I've just put all of the square drills that I've just bought into these, and I will just pull from these as I'm working on the piece. So I've got my canvas, I've got my light pad here, which I find easier to use. Now what I like to do is work in just small areas. So I'm going to put some release paper down at 20 over and $40 up, since that is the amount of space that my cell phone can look at. And then what I'm going to do is I will open my pattern keeper. Okay, now you'll notice the markings up at the top. The one on the far left, that is so that you can move your piece around to get to the different spots that you would like to be working on. This middle one is the find tool. Like for instance, say I want to start on the very bottom left corner. I'll click on one of those symbols and that will highlight all of those symbols that are on the chart, and that will help me in placing it on my blank canvas. The one on the far right here, this is where I can actually start marking them as I've placed them on the canvas. And then once you hit the check mark, it marks those as done. Now, if you've marked them by mistake, all you have to do is select them again. You'll get a little frog down here, and you can select them, and that will unselect them. So in this case, you can look down here at the bottom, and this is DMC number 3371. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for 3371 in my stack of drills here. I'll start placing those 3 at the very bottom. So that's in the very bottom left-hand corner. And then as I place them, move this out of the way, I'm going to just select those and mark them as placed. Then right above that is 4. And then I can mark those as placed. And then right above that is 5. And then I can mark that as placed. And then I'm just going to continue, because on my phone I can see these 8 squares of 10. And so that is what I'm going to be working with. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the search icon and I'm going to search on the next one. We'll do this symbol right here. And that is 310. So I am going to go grab the 310 out of my stash. All right, here's my 310. Then I'm going to select my little pen tool up here so I can start marking them off. All right, finished with the 310s in this section. All right, finished with the 310s. So next I will go for the little circle ones. And here is 938. Okay, now I'm done with the 938, so I will select this symbol next, which is 632. So I will pull 632 out of my stash. Okay, I've finished with that color. Now we'll go to the search icon again, and we'll do this one next, and that is 801. So I'm going to select my pencil tool again, and I will pull out 801. Okay, and I finished that color, and now I'm just going to repeat this process for these sets of squares right here. So you get the gist of this. I work in just small areas, which are the size that I can display on my phone. If you're working with an Android tablet, you can probably work in a larger area. But I like to work in 4 groups of 10 up and 2 groups of 10 to the side. And I will just continue this process until I finish the entire work, and then we'll be back. got our first section done. I'm going to go ahead and roll it down with a roller. And so we're probably almost a quarter of the way through. Okay, now it's finished. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to seal it with this particular product, which I purchased from Amazon. So what I'm going to do, let's squeeze it out onto here. And this is a silicone brush. Oh, first of all, what I'm going to do, which I forgot, is I want to remove the masking tape. Okay. All right. So now I have a silicone brush here. So I'm just going to spread the sealant as evenly as I can. And the silicone brush, I just wipe off with a paper towel. Okay, next I'm going to take a foam brush and I'm just going to remove any of the excess. Now I can just take this foam brush and wash it in the sink with some soap and water. And I'm going to let this piece now dry for several hours, and then we'll be back. Okay, and to frame this piece, I am going to use this frame, which I purchased from the Dollar Tree. First thing I'll do is I'll open up the side. Now it's got little foam strips here on the mask that I'm going to remove. And I have cut a piece of foam board that will fit inside here to give pressure over the entire piece. So the diamond painting will sit within the mask area here. All right, the sealant is dry now. So I'm going to place down the mask from the frame to get a rough fitting. To determine where I'm going to want to cut this. So I'm going to mark that where I want to cut it. And then I will just cut along this mark here. And I will press this down. And there are some sticky areas which will help hold the mask down. And then I will put this in the frame. Make sure it looks okay. And I'll just put the picture that was in there as extra padding. I'll put the foam board in and make sure, okay, the top is up here. Then we'll seal this down. And we've got our piece framed. And so I hope you have enjoyed this video. Bye.